Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch and welcome to another review. Today we're going to talk about a brand which we featured already on the channel. If you remember, a while ago we reviewed the Habring Erwin Jumping Seconds, which was created by William Messina for the Time Zone Forum. Today we're going to talk about one of their newest models, which is the Chronophilix with a panda dial. If you want to collect independent watches, Habring is a good way to start. Their prices are usually below 8,000 Swiss francs, and you can get a lot of different complications or time indications. You have the deadbeat seconds, you have a nice monopusher chronograph, which we're going to talk about today. You also have a foudroyant, you have a double chronograph, and in the past they also did like a nice tourbillon, which wasn't all that expensive. It's very finely made, attention to detail is immaculate, and I really advise you to check my previous review and also do some digging on the brand yourself. What I also found very interesting for a small brand like this, that they created a nice comic to show the development of their relationship, how Richard and Maria met, how the company started, which was their first model, it was the time-only model, and also the development throughout the years. For a small company like this, they already have 4 GPAG awards, which is the Oscars of watchmaking, under their belt. They won one in 2012, 2013, 2015, and the latest one was in 2018. The model we're going to talk about today is the Chronophilix. Under the Felix line, you actually have a few different variations. You have the time-only watch, which has a second sub-dial at 9 o'clock. They have the Doppel-Felix movement, which is the Rattrapant double chronograph watch. They have a COS Felix, where you activate the chronograph with turning the crown. There's no separate pushers involved. And they also have a foudroyant Felix, which is like a jumping seconds indicator at 9 o'clock. The Panda dial version of the Chronophilix was lent to me by Ursachen in Bern, Switzerland. They are the official retailer of Habring and many other independent brands. The more I look at this watch, the more I like it. It's a very understated design. If you look at it from afar, you wouldn't know that it's an independent watchmaker. If you want to buy a monopusher chronograph, there's not much competition in this price range. The price of this model here in Switzerland is 6,400 Swiss francs. But check the pricing in your country, because it might be a bit different, depends also on the taxes. The design is very subtle, but the attention to detail once you see the close-ups is really great. The silver-white metal dial has a subtle grain finish. The minute markers and the long hour markers are printed on the dial, and you have 2 sub-dials. The sub-dial at 9 o'clock is actually the small seconds hand, which is for the time indication, and the sub-dial at 3 o'clock is actually a 30-minute chronograph counter. The chronograph sub-dial has a longer 3 and 6 minute markers, and the hand is actually inspired by vintage chronographs as well. It has this beautiful triangle shape and it's all polished. The hour hand and the minute hand are very thin, well executed and finely polished as well. The minute hand is slightly curved at the end to improve the readability. The chronograph hand, which is now here at 12 o'clock, let's start it now together, is actually heat blued and also curved at the end to ensure you can read the chronograph more precisely. What I like about the dial as well is that it doesn't have a lot of markings. So we just have the logo at 12 o'clock and that's that. You don't have a chronograph name or automatic or manual winding or whatever on it. Turning the watch on, you can really see the specialty of this watch, and something I particularly like. It has an open case back, so you can see the in-house movement by Habring very well. The movement inside is the A11C-H1, an in-house developed movement which was made with the help of the suppliers around the region in Austria where Habring is residing. Richard Habring actually developed the double chronograph for IWC, so his specialty is Valjoux-based chronographs. These movements components are all custom built for Habring. They don't use any ETA components anymore. As you see, the construction is more industrial looking. They actually hand finish and do the beveling, which is really finely made, which you almost don't notice. You have heat blued screws on the movement, a lot of perlage visible, and an elevated middle bridge. The bridge has a circular finish, and actually in the middle you have the chronograph wheel, which you can see turning now. The blue part here is actually the cam lever as you would have in a normal chronograph, so when you stop the chronograph and start and reset it, you see how it moves and engages the movement. So now the chronograph is running, now we stopped it, and now we put it back to 12 o'clock, as you can see here on the front side. Because this watch doesn't have a huge case diameter, it's actually 38.3 millimeters in width, the movement takes a whole 30 millimeters in width, and the height of it is 6.5 millimeters, which makes for a nice architecture, and it's really a pleasure to look at it with a loupe. The movement beats with 4 Hz, it's hand wound, as you can see there's no winding rotor, which is something I particularly like as well. There's a 48-hour power reserve and an anti-magnetic escapement with the Carl Haas hairspring. It's actually chronometer quality. A lot of the components which would have to be serviced in time have similarities with the Valjoux 7750 chronograph. so servicing this watch in the future will not be a problem. What I also like about this watch is that it doesn't have any inscriptions on the case spec either. So the dial is very subtly inscribed just with the logo, and the case spec features literally nothing. So if you don't know the brand, let's say, from the case spec you wouldn't know which one it is. Although there's no inscriptions, the middle bridge is very Habring-like. If we compare it to the previous watch we reviewed, you'll see the similarities, and you know what I mean. The case spec is actually mirror polished, as well as the tip of the crown and the tip of the pusher. The side of the case is finely satin finished, and as you can see we have drilled lugs here, which means you can exchange the straps pretty easily. When you look at the bezel from the front side, it's quite wide, but because it's sloped and mirror polished, it doesn't get in the way that much. And because we have a wide dial, the watch appears much bigger. The strap we have it on today is actually a custom strap from Ursachen as well, but I think it fits in the watch pretty nicely. From the side you can see the height of the case, it's actually 10.5 millimeters. It slips under the cuff with no problem, and you can pair this watch on a suit or with a more casual wear. Let's now stop and reset the chronograph to see how it looks in action. Just push the push that we stop it now and reset, and you'll also see the sub dial, it's gonna jump back. Here you go. Now we can start measuring something else again. The more watches I review from Habring and the more I see in person, the more I like the brand. Their philosophy, their models, the range, and also how they construct their movements. Again, for a price of 6,400 Swiss francs with the in-house chronograph movement, I think it's a good buy. They also have a very loyal community online and also offline, so once you see somebody wearing the same watch as you do, or a different model, I'm sure you'll connect pretty quickly. Let me know what you think about this watch, if you would wear it, and also what do you think about their price points. If there's a brand you want us to review or a special model, just leave a comment down below. As you've seen on this channel, we covered more than 75 brands already, and most of them from independent watchmakers. Leave a like and subscribe, share this video because this really helps me out a lot. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next week.